it's paradise.
I would describe Seldovia as a very picturesque, beautiful place.
It's the most beautiful place on the earth to live.
It's past the end of the road, and it's nice being that way.
It's a great place to grow kids, raise a family, and do things.
When the sun shines, I don't think you can find a better place. The idea for the event came from various conversations with a variety of people, and I think probably Catherine Gottlieb was the first one that suggested that we do something like that.
And actually, I believe I was present at the moment that she turned to Crystal Collier and said, and Crystal being the CEO of the tribe, she said, "I'd like to have an event in Seldovia where people come home in a reunion."
She wanted to have a gathering, a coming home of people to celebrate the accomplished folks that came out of Seldovia.
Then it kind of grew into, well, let's see how many Native people we can get to come back, and the elders, and share in the community.
The organization of this started in January of 2006. So it took us over a year.
All the different committees of people organizing stuff and doing research work and whatnot.
And we had meetings every month of different types of ideas, community meetings.
Planning the events, who was going to help out.
We wanted it to be really special because we knew that the old-timers would be coming back, and we wanted them to remember Seldovia as it used to be.
Catherine had the vision for it, and Crystal had the wherewithal to make it happen. I think the thing thing that made the coming home a lot of fun was it surrounded the 4th of July celebration for Seldovia. And people who have grown up in Seldovia over the years know that that day is just like the day that you just really want to hit Seldovia if you want to be around a lot of people, have a lot of fun.
Every 4th of July is like a reunion. Folks come home or back to Seldovia if they've lived here at one point in time, and it's a great time to rekindle old friendships and just, you know, see the people that you haven't seen in a long time.
Right around the 4th of July, people like to come home and so forth. And people that always meant to come back, they had a reason.
You got to make sure you're on Main Street in time, because if you're not, you might miss the parade because it's that short. So you go down the street with your floats and then you turn around and you come back. So everybody gets to see it twice and makes it a little longer. So then you have a collection of kids on bikes or with their 4th of July decorations on it and balloons and streamers. And then you have four-wheeler floats and you have trucks with things attached that have floats on them. And it's all kind of homey and simple. And then the fire truck and the police car going, and you know, it's just a great time. And then as the afternoon goes on, people gather along the harbor and they watch canoe jousting and log rolling, and they look at all those people and say, glad it's not me in that water.
The Chamber of Commerce always has an old crab. They celebrate someone from Seldovia that's been a long timer, or achievers from Seldovia that were born and raised here. So the old crabs for the 2007 were Don Kashaveroff, and he is currently the CEO of ANTHC. Karl Mars, he was the president of SERI for many years, and Kathy Gottlieb, she currently works with South Central Foundation.
The old crabs get auctioned off for lunch, and so that's what we did that year with Carl and with Dawn and with Catherine, and they all got to go out to lunch with the person who won them in the bidding.
They were all born and raised in Seldovia and went on to be great leaders of Alaska.
During the coming home celebration, everybody thought, well, why don't we have the, fish derby again? So it was salmon and halibut, biggest fish, smallest fish, ugliest fish. It was just all over, whatever was brought in, we weighed, and there was prizes given every day. There was a buoy race out at the outside beach, little kids to adults. There was different buoy sizes for everybody to choose and everything, so they lined up and somebody hollered go, and they bounced down the beach for I think 100 feet or something like that, and I think only one person actually finished, so it was pretty easy to figure out who was the winner, and it was that was great fun. We had volleyball games on the beach. People picked their teams. I think there might have been a town team and a church team and things like that. There was a sawdust pile, and there was coins, and there was candy and different little prizes in there for the kids, and that was one of the big things, big draws that I think adults and kids enjoyed. There was the feast, the potluck, I guess they want to call it. Rick Harkness, who did a lot of the pig roasts in the past, him and one other gentleman watched the pig throughout the night, and just cooked it.
About noon, it was completely cooked. So it was on there for about 11 hours. Then we had a crew that had volunteered after it was cooked, and we got it onto the table. They cut it up so that it could be served.
It's how often do you get to see a whole pig, brought out of a huge roasting oven, and then, they put the little apple in its mouth, and it was just really juicy, and crisp, and yeah, that was the best pig ever.
So another event that happened during that was an all-school reunion.
We had a gathering at the school, and we had pictures of students through the ages.
I enjoyed that because it brought back a lot of the kids that had graduated from school from when I first got here, and even prior to that, to see all those kids, because I'd basically watch them grow up.
We saw a lot of different people and families that came and that brought their children and could share their memories of this being at school, and what a small little school, and depending on where they came from.
That was awesome to have the principals and teachers over time to come and participate in an all-school reunion.
One of my great memories was that a woman, and I'm going to say her name is Babe, I'm pretty sure. Babe was really excited to sing the fight song that she remembered.
You want me to sing it?
Yes, please, if you would.
Oh, pray God. Seldovia's my school, clear to the end. High school and grade school, you can depend. Raise your head up to the sky. See the blue and white on high. Better Alaskans for Alaska is our motto till we die. Blue for true, white to be pure, for Seldovia for a school that's climbing high, high, high.
So when I look at the picture of the group, I reflect on the fact that we've lost some of the people who were in that picture, and so that was a really special memory.
I'd say the talking circle for the tribe was a huge portion for the coming home. Every day at 2 o'clock, people came and met around a table. They had coffee and drinks, and they just kind of spun off of each other. Remember when kind of things, looking at pictures.
It was great to see a lot of people that we hadn't seen for years and talk about things in the earlier days. And
Elders would be there just telling stories, and people could be there to listen.
It was fun.
When they all sit together, they have wonderful stories, and they prompt each other and remind each other the way it used to be, or you got their point of view from the story, as all stories are. Everybody has a different point of view.
Some of the ones were probably best from Mike Miller.
When I was there, he's reading from his dad's diary from when his dad was the police chief here.
I don't know if I should be reading this stuff, but after all, it goes back to 1953. But listen to this one. Talked again with Phillips. He's scared of Vernon Johnson. Went to see Bill Smith, but both he and Grandma Ponchine drunk in bed.
If there was anything, like if he got a call, or if you had to go see somebody, or if it had something to do with city business, he wrote it down. He kept his own little diary, and it was really interesting.
And then trouble over paying for sandwiches with Wesley Alstead. Said he could whip me if not a cop, and asked me to meet him next day and fight at the light plant, which I agreed to. Okay, and then January 1st, went down to fight at the light plant to meet Wesley Alstead. He showed up 15 minutes later. While walking out road together, he decided that we should forget it all. Shook hands, and that was that.
Some of the people around the table were in the blotter, so that was great fun.
I mentioned it to a few people. The surprising thing about the whole thing was how much people have aged. You know, you never think of yourself as aging. And of course, you know, I told that to a few people and they told me I should look in the mirror.
That was insightful for me because even though I was here from my childhood on, you know, when you're little, you aren't necessarily keyed into who everybody is, and you just learn your group of people as you grow up. And so to hear people who had lived there even before me telling stories about who was in the pictures, that was really neat.
We had asked people to submit photos of Seldovia or their family. They could make their own family boards.
I like old pictures, so I made sure that I went up to see the collages of old albums that people had brought and had set up. And there was a lot of pictures, there was a lot of displays.
People could wander through them and look at them and, you know, kind of for conversation pieces and reminders of, you know, who was here before, and, you know, you could look at them and remember good times. One lady who came in brought in her books and her documentation that she had done on her family. She was actually a great help in the whole talking circle.
It was wonderful to hear people's versions of how they remember Seldovia.
So it was like, you know, sitting around, just everybody was, you know, comfortable and having fun. It's important to tell stories from the past just to preserve those stories and to keep them alive in our memories and pass them on to the younger generations, you know, so they remember, you know, where they came from and how things were before.
The importance of sharing old stories about Seldovia is just to keep the history of town alive.
The bombs bursting in air.
The native people back then and the Russian influence took part in creating Seldovia.
So many people are influenced, whether it's by their Scandinavian ways, their Alaskan Native ways. Some in the Alaskan Native ways, is it an Eskimo tradition? Is it an Indian tradition? All of that takes you back to storytelling. And the fact that when our kids are able to sit and listen while the older adults are talking about their experiences, it's weaving in all of that richness, you know, the tapestry that makes Seldovia.
And that's the culture of the Native people. It's long before it is written, it's shared in stories. To carry forward the past into the future, that is who we are. And if we don't carry that forward, then we lose something.
The coming home of 2007 started something for us as a tribe, as a community, to create something that we can share with anybody that comes to visit about how old Seldovia and Seldovia was a family. No matter who or what or where you came from, everyone took care of each other. It was a comfortable, safe place to be.
The best part for me, I think, was the people that came. The people that heard about the event and decided they wanted to make the journey back home to celebrate and participate. This was an event that people really realized that everybody's coming. I can't miss it.
For me, being the parent of children who are Alaska Native, it's important to me that they see people who have gone to other areas in the state or the nation who are leaders. These people have taken their experiences from Seldovia and used them to do great things.
I think that that's one of the best things that we ever did as a community.